In today. Hello everyone. Good morning. It is Wednesday the 25th of November 2020. I'm glad you're here for Change the Shed. Thank you so much for coming to spend some time with me in my studio. Before I forget, I believe I will be here next on December 9, which is 2 weeks from today. You might check in with my newsletter just to make sure I haven't shifted that around a little bit. But I will be back in December, and I will let you know for sure when that will be, if it changes. So, gosh, I don't know what else. I should mention... I am having the one sale a year. I say one sale a year. Sometimes I have spontaneous sales, but the one I always have is on Cyber Monday, which is this coming Monday. And I call it Fiber Monday, which was not actually my idea. It was Emily's idea, but it's a great idea. If you have some holiday money that you want to spend in the spirit of education and you would love to take a Tapestry class, all of them are on sale. So I'll put notes in the Change the Shed page, but my newsletter today had all the codes, and I will be sending out them on social media on Monday. So if you're interested, that would be great. If you have friends who might be interested, if you can let them know that if they want a good deal, either 15, 20, or 25% off all my classes, they can check out those codes. Actually, they're in my blog too, which is probably the easiest place to find them. So I am so happy you all are here, and it's Thanksgiving in the United States this week. So I think most of us who have the ability, I'm just talking off the cuff now, I'm sorry. Briefly, I think most of us who have the ability to do any weaving have a lot of reason to be grateful. So let's all be grateful that we can weave and put food on our tables this week. There are a lot of people who are really suffering right now, and so anything we can do to help them is a good thing. So, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I think we can definitely say happy Thanksgiving. If you're not in the U.S., happy Thanksgiving anyway, or have a great weekend. It is sort of a long weekend in the United States. So if you're looking for an answer from somebody from the United States for the next 4 days and you don't live here, you're probably not going to get it. So we're all eating pie and watching television or doing puzzles, or maybe we're weaving. So that is what's happening on this side of the pond. I am still working on this. I actually thought maybe I would be showing you something else today, but let me put this up here. I'm still working on this little foot tapestry. Here, I will zoom it out so you can, if you're new, this is the whole, how far I've gotten. Clearly I haven't done a whole lot in the last week because I've been working on new samples for the Design Solutions class. Season 2 starts in January. So I've been doing some weaving for that, but I'm not going to show you those because they're a secret. They're for the Design Solutions students. So Season 2 starts January 11, and I'm pretty excited about it. So I had some fun weaving those samples this week, but I'm not going to show them to you. So we're going to go back to my little red shoe piece. This is my Handbasket piece. And hopefully you all are weaving something today also. You're welcome, Anne. Anne noted that the codes are actually working now. You don't have to wait until Monday for that sale. So I got lazy, and the codes they start as soon as you make them, and it was easier for me to send them today than to think about sending them over the weekend. So they do work now. So thank you, Anne, and you're welcome. Enjoy warp and weft. Oh, great question. Okay, so let's look at this weaving. Let me back out a little bit. Mary says, did I use the golden mean to decide on the proportion of the uneven borders? It's a great question, and in my head I'm thinking about whether I did or not. Normally I always do that, Mary. I use the golden mean, which is a proportion, same proportion as the Fibonacci series. 1.61803 is... someday I'm going to weave that 1.61803. My teacher, James Kohler, was really, really big on the golden mean and using proportion in his pieces. So I use it a lot. I do always use it for the external dimensions of large pieces. And I often use it for things like this. This is wider than this. And I often would use the golden mean to figure out a proportion that matched those dimensions. To be honest, Mary, I don't think I did it on this one. I think I did it visually. I just thought, well, I want it a little heavier on the bottom and we're going to make it. So I believe this is a third larger than this, which is more like a third proportion. It's not quite the golden mean. If I'd used the golden mean, I think this would be just a little bit narrower. So anyway, great question. And gosh, I actually will have a whole video about that in the next Design Solutions class, because it's really a useful thing in terms of where to place things. James used it all the time and convinced me that it is a good thing to do. Okay, cool. So today, let me zoom this back in. Maybe you'll stop seeing my chin if I zoom it in. And I'm going to work on this little part, just doing another outline. And then I might go over and do the letters if we have any time left. But so these are little, let's see if you can see, there's little flames here at the bottom. This is a tapestry about going to hell in a handbasket. So at the end of each of these little flames, this is 8 ends per inch. I'm doing a eccentric outline with silk. And this is silk from Weaver's Bazaar, which is really nice stuff. I like it. It's super thin. It's like 60s, 60 over 2. 2-ply 60 silk. So it's about half the size of the Weaver's Bazaar. This is their regular fine wool, and it's actually about half the size of that. So anyway, I'm using it for my outlines, and so eccentric means I'm putting it in on the curve, and then I want just the red part here outlined. Coming back. I haven't really been, someone will ask me this, I haven't really been splicing the silk. It's so slippery, I'm going to have to stitch it in anyway. So if I decide to make the back clean, so I'm just sticking it to the back. And then I want to do a split weft. So I want the line to be smooth. So I'm adding the yellow, because the next color is going to be yellow in the same shed. And that will give me a much smoother line. And I'm making the yellow go all the way over the orange because the yellow background part will go all the way to that green edge. Let's make the tails not be in the same place. There's another thing to think about, like, oh, where did I just put the last set of tails? Maybe I don't want them exactly overlapping. Depends on how you deal with your tails. Different people do it differently. With some methods, it doesn't matter. The silk is a little more slippery, so you have to be careful to make it behave there. Okay, so now I have my outline in there, and I'm going to go to filling in this section with the yellow. Let's look at my cartoon. The cartoon is dotted on the warp, but sometimes it's hard to really tell what the dots are. Okay, so I have a little narrow area of yellow in here that goes up to there, and then this is red again. So Now that I've dropped my tools. There's always a little pause in my mind about where to put the tools. Is the tails is what I'm thinking there, as you can't hear my brain working. I'm going to actually start in this instance with the tail on this side. I want this. This is 3 strands of Kohler singles, and I want it a little bit twisted there so that it behaves. I'm going to put the tail over here. I'm going to go with just 1 butterfly. And then I have to decide whether this is thin enough that I can just do an eccentric pass, a couple passes here, or if I should build it up horizontally. I'm going to go for the eccentric because this is such a narrow area. I'm only going to put in 2 sequences plus a pick. Sometimes I'll use the little beater to sort of pull the weft in when I'm doing eccentric weaving. It takes more weft. And also there's always this little, see how that yellow came right out? So I don't like that. And I want that to be tighter. And that's a thing between getting enough weft in here and that's a little better. See if I can do that one more time. Okay, let me put this gray back. I think you can probably see it better if I remember to do that. Okay, so I'm going to do a bubble there and then change the shed and see if that helps me get enough weft and not push it out at the edge. Nope, not quite. Let's try that. That's better. Okay, so I think that's good for the yellow. Now I'm going to fill in this little triangle. And I'm going straight back to doing it horizontally. Jocelyn asked if the yellow was silk also. The second yellow outline, yes, was also silk, Jocelyn, and this is the wool now that I put on top. So the silk, I used this really acid colored yellow, which really actually is nice for this. It stands out more than a softer yellow would. And then I mixed it with 1 strand of this orange because I like how the orange just sort of tones down that acid yellow a little tiny bit. When you're bundling yarns, you can really change how a mix looks by playing with the color strands that are in each mix. Hi, Sarah. Good to see you. Sorry, that's Sarah Sweat from Idaho. I'm glad you're all here, of course. Sarah from Vermont is also here. Many Sarahs. And Aniki's here from cold Hungary. Kate. So Kate says she has a new game called Guess What Rebecca's going to do before she does it. It involves guessing things like which area she'll fill in next, if she'll weave eccentrically 1 bundle or 2. I love it, Kate. If y'all put money on it, don't tell me about it, but I think that's funny. I love it. Okay, so I want this to be smooth, so I'm going to do a valley thread on this point. Even though my cartoon didn't have me moving over that far, it will make a difference. So I have a little tiny bit more here. Sometimes I'll just pick up a couple warps. And then this last one I'm going to pigtail. Well, that, for once, the weft ended up being about the right length. Okay, not completely happy with this edge, but I think it'll be all right. Okay, so I'm in the right shed for another outline. So I'm using this weft for the outlines a little thin. I'm only using 3 strands of this very thin silk. And I'm doing it as a full sequence, as a cheat, because I don't want all the tails, or I want the tails to be in the middle. I'll still have tails, but I don't want them on the edges. When you do a lot of outlining, it's easy to get a whole bunch of tails. If they go to the edge of your piece, it's easy to get a whole bunch of tails out there, and I don't want that. So I'm doing it like this. So I put in the piece in the middle, and then bringing the tails back together somewhere. Let's back that up. Making sure I get enough weft in there, because anytime you weave off the perpendicular, you need more weft. Nikki wants to know, in how many countries do I teach tapestry? I don't know. I actually don't know how I would get that data, but I would love to know. My next color is red. Probably most of the countries in Europe I've had students from. I've had a student in Thailand, a couple in India, Egypt, 1 or 2 countries in Africa, quite a few from South Africa, New Zealand, Australia, Ireland. I don't know about Iceland. I don't think Iceland or Greenland. That would be something. This one I'm also mixing. This is the red outline, and I'm using 1 of the hot pink and 2 of the reds. I'm doing it the same way. A few people, actually South America also, I've had a few people from Mexico, quite a few from Costa Rica, and quite a few from Brazil, and a few from Argentina. Someday I'll figure out how to get that data, but all the course platform collects is your name and email address. So there's no way to really know unless I did a survey. So Emily is a professional survey maker, and I just heard a peanut gallery comment about that survey thing. She is a sociologist, and so has made many surveys. I believe that comment was, "Told you so." Okay, so we're back to the red outline. And now we put the wool on. So basically it's this pattern over and over of every time I have a little line, I'm outlining it with the silk to make these little brighter parts stick forward. I'm having trouble with the light today. I feel like it might just be me, but I feel like the light it's harder to see this red part. And I apologize for that. I will try to see if I can get some other lights going. Yes, Naya said, because the flame goes into the green, do you not need to sew the slit? What about the green white? So yes, actually, that's a great question. These are sewn, and I will sew the slit before I fill this in. So actually, it's interesting that you asked this, because really the next thing I should do, I put this red line in too early. what I need to do next is fill in this green up to this line and make the red go the whole way across. And I need to sew that slit first. So thanks for asking that question, because you made me realize that this was an error. We need to fill this green in. And then these, oh, you can see that. This slit here also, I've started sewing it and I will continue to sew that. That line goes all the way up to about, you can't even see that. It's about 5 or 6 inches long. So I definitely need that to be sewn. So a lot of things about tapestry weaving are super sequential. I have a bigger, I'm missing my tools. I have another beater somewhere that I can't seem to see at the moment. Hold on. I've put all my tools in, I've put them all away and now I don't have the one I need. Anyway, I would prefer a bigger beater than this. This is really great for this little 16 EPI, but it's a little bit small for this. So basically I have to fill in all of this green part up to the top of this line, sew this slit, and then I can run the red all the way to that point. That would be a normal progression, and tapestry is like that. If you're doing, especially if you're doing outlines of things that are eccentric, you need to fill in a shape. And found it. So I can't get enough leverage with this. I needed a little pop in that center. If you saw how it was like building up, to get that even, because I know these sequences are all even and I don't want the beading to be uneven. Also, I'm doing hatching here, so I have to watch for that. Make sure that I make my hatching do what I want it to. And this wants to ridge. All the things you have to remember. This, when you're turning on a selvage, and this slit is basically a selvage, this is wanting, because I'm managing this turn so nicely, it's wanting to pull these two warps forward and make this warp go back. And I don't want that to happen because I will see a line along the, and I can even feel it a little bit. So you can convince the weaving to get flatter. Okay. Let's see. Is that long enough? Yes. And Nikki asked how she can order the first book I wrote, which is the little Untangled book, which is the book with the little sheep on the cover. If you go to my website, and I know you're in Hungary, Aniki, if I don't know for sure if I have added Hungary to the list of shipping options, but you can order it from the shop page on my website. And just email me if it seems like it's not working. If it won't let you order from Hungary, I just need to add that. Unfortunately, shipping internationally out of the US is insanely expensive, and I apologize to you all. I have been unable to get around that in terms of a wholesaler or any other method, so it is unfortunate. Okay, let's see. An advantage of this shacked loom is it has more room between the two layers. I really like it. I like that I can get my hand in here really easily and just pull these tails down. This is how I do splices when I'm weaving from the front. Oops. Once you've practiced for a while, you just sort of figure out where they go. here is, okay, it looks like I was going to end that there. Bring this back. Yes, Kate asked if I do the outlines with split weft. That's a good question. And I kind of flew through it, but I could pull it up so you can see, I think. So she's asking about these outlines, and split weft is a way to get a nice straight line, which you maybe can see here between the red and the yellow, that it's super crisp. And usually, if you don't have that kind of outline, you'll see this over and under, the slightly bumpy thing that's very characteristic of Tapestry. So here I did do a split outline, and you probably can see it if I pull that up. See how the yellow and red are in the same shed right there. So when I put them in, I didn't change the shed between the red and the yellow, and that made the split weft outline, which is the reason why I'm using such thin bundles for the silk, because I want to double that to get that split weft outline. But I don't want to have a whole bunch of tails, so it was a dual purpose thing there. Now I've messed up my, okay. So, let's see. Here's the whole thing. I still have, at least in the camera, it really looks like you can see that that's sort of higher there, and that could be probably is from this 16 EPI area. And so I will probably do a couple little, here, I'll do it right now real quick. Because I just feel like this is lower and it's all packed in evenly, you can fix that, and you should fix that by just putting in, if you're a knitter, you might know about short rows. I think of it like short rows, which is kind of silly because I do more tapestry weaving than knitting, but I was a knitter I knitted before I wove tapestry, so I only went over this far in the other shed, and now I'm coming back, and that's like doing a short row. In knitting, I'm just adding a little piece of weft, and that might even still not be enough. I might need even one more little bit to fill that in even. And that might mean that this doesn't match up when I sew the slits or something, but this is fabric and it will be close enough. There, it's a little bit straighter. Okay, let me switch this back. Yeah, I know there are various, I've looked into as many cheaper, if anybody has any other ideas, but actually I've had people in England look into it also as far as shipping to Europe. And I already get a discount by using the Postal Service business accounts, and I've maxed out everything I possibly can. It's pretty painful, right? As Jessica says, $25 for up to a 2-pound package, and the package is just about 1 pound, and it costs about $25 to send this little tiny book to the UK. This 40-page book, $25 to mail that to the US. It weighs like 8 ounces. To mail it to Europe. It is a really cute book, though. If you haven't seen it, it's really fun. It's all illustrations from my cousin, who is a children's book illustrator. I love this butterfly on this side. Anyway, you can see it on my website. So Marla is asking a good question in terms of when I am twisting. She's noticing that I'm twisting these as I'm putting them in. This Harrisville Highland is a singles yarn, and I'm always twisting them in the direction opposite the way the yarn was made. So you know, if you're a spinner, that you twist the singles one direction and you ply the other direction. So I'm twisting in the ply direction for this single. If you're using a 2-ply yarn or a 3-ply or 4-ply yarn, it won't behave right unless you change the direction of twist every time you twist pieces together. It does matter. I have sometimes, so I will ply this yarn on my spinning wheel for the big pieces. I'll make all the mixes I need of, various colors get mixed together, and I'll make them into little balls so that I'm ready to go on a big piece. And I have sometimes not been thinking and plied the yarn the wrong direction, and it acts really crazy. I have to unply it and redo it because the yarn just doesn't lay right if you don't switch the direction of twist every time you twist the pieces together. This is, good question, Janet. This is the Shacked Arras. Let's see if I can back out enough that you can see it. This is the Shacked, you can see about that much of it. The Shacked Arras. It's the Shacked Arras tapestry loom. It's the new loom they came out with this year, and it is a lovely wooden loom. It works very much like the Mirex, but it's made out of wood. Oh, you can see in this image, this is how the shedding device works. It's a really nice, beautiful, sturdy loom. I've really enjoyed working on it. So, yes, Audrey, I have thought about this, and it is doing a digital version is definitely an option I have thought about, and it is on my list, so don't give up hope, everyone. Someday we might do that. I can't promise, but Book Depository has my full-length book. You're welcome to get The Art of Tapestry Weaving. This is a self-published book. I published it myself. It lives in my garage, so I'm the only one who has the copies, is the problem. Nobody is stocking it except Mirex. You can buy it from Mirex. And I don't know what their shipping is to the, I guess you could check on that. I don't know what their shipping is to the UK. Maybe they have figured out a way to make it cheaper. But the only person that's wholesaling it right now is Mirex. So you guys, thank you so much for coming on the day before Thanksgiving. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful holiday if you're in the US. If you're somewhere else, have a wonderful weekend. And we should all be thankful for the things that we need to be thankful for. And if you need someone to buoy you up or give you some cheer, if you're alone or whatever, please reach out to somebody. There are people all over who really don't want you to be alone. So it's hard, I think, during the pandemic that people aren't in your bubble, and there's a lot of people who are really lonely. So please reach out. Even just online, ask on Facebook, ask in the Facebook group if there's someone who can Zoom with you or something. Just don't be miserable if you can ask and find a friend, even if it's online. Tapestry weavers are great people. So we're going to have a good holiday. We're going to weave on this some more. And I will see you probably on December 9, but I will put that for sure in my newsletter next week. Oh, that would be too late. I'll let you know. I don't think it'll be next week, so plan on December 9. You all are great. Have a great holiday. Thanks for coming. I almost didn't do this today because I thought, well, nobody will come the day before Thanksgiving, but there are many of you who don't have Thanksgiving, so I'm glad you're here. Thanks again, and I'll see you next week. And Kate, we will take bets on what I'm going to weave and what I'm going to work on next. How about that? Bye, y'all.